Sure.
Oh, yeah, you get to talk to me on here, and then
All right.
I'm just on Instagram Live in case anybody want to ask us some questions
Let's go.
while we instigating. Yes, indeed. Scratch, scratch, scratch. It's Silverad and friends. Yes, indeed.
I got it. This is very important. I keep it on my desk at all times.
Oh,
Make sure
nice
it doesn't blur.
for a little inspiration.
Exactly. When I'm thinking like, what should I do? I remember always keep scratching, and I see that, and I go, I gotta do it. I gotta chew my corn.
Gotta do chew that core, baby. Words
I
to live.
learned a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's nice. One of Renee's friends actually had drawn up that logo for me, and then I asked her for permission to use it, and we got it put on some stickers.
Yeah, no, it's perfect, and I love that your hat is the sewer lid. Is
It's
that what technically it is?
yeah, it's a sewer hole cover. Absolutely, that's pretty funny. Yeah,
No, it's high art for sure.
I got all kind of different logo designs. I got the original like the sewer rat scratch, and then I had like a 3D like AI model, like futuristic kind of dude with like riffraff visor, neon glasses for like Sewer Rat
Oh,
2.0. And then yeah, that one of course is nice.
shit.
It's classic.
I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, it's kind of niche, you know. It's
Oh
buried
my
down.
gosh. I just recognize your sweater. It just I just looked down. It says chew your corn. Oh
It's
my god.
Unicorn Sewer Rat sweater, holiday Christmas sweater is always in season.
That's awesome. I'm just mind blown right now by everything.
Yeah, it's great. I want to get a whole new line of merch lined up. I want to get part of what I'm gonna do, like I told you, is with these interviews, is kind of cut in different techniques and things like
Mhm.
that. And then eventually, after filming this catalog, like week by week, I want to release the complete sewer system instructional DVD.
That's amazing. Okay.
And I want to tailor it kind of like to kids, kind of like a little daycare thing, you know, like sewer tots where the parents go out and training, and then they just have like a little mat zone for all the mat rats, and they just like watch Coach Sewer Rat on TV instead of like Sesame Street or something. So I'll have the Sewer Rat system, and then with that I want to release like a new line of rash guards and everything like exclusives, pre-orders, and things like that.
Wow. That's brilliant, I have to say. I think kids would love it. I mean, I would love it as a full grown adult. That sounds amazing. I'm gonna get the full sewer system. I want to know everything.
Yeah, it's awesome. A lot of people, like adults especially, really like it, but it's wholesome, it's quality,
Yeah.
it's family oriented, it's fun, and that's what I like to just kind of keep it as universal as possible.
As you turned your head, I did notice the tail.
Of course, I got it still.
Well, oh man, because I do remember for who's next you had to shave your head, but you kept the tail. So I'm glad it's still there.
Yeah, what that's when that wasn't me, that was Donaher.
Oh, I'm so yeah. What am I thinking? I get y'all confused all the time. I see a clip of Donner teaching a technique, and I'm like, wait, is that the sewer rat? No, no, no. Like, okay.
Hey, that was hilarious. Who cut that footage? That was so professional looking when I had my 5 foundational principles and everything.
Yeah, that was a scene by Simone, and I remember the fun thing about that is like, I knew going in that I had to pick the most like I don't know what you call that music, but I wanted piano music to make it feel like you were about to say like the smartest shit that's gonna blow your mind. Like this, we're about to get into science. And yeah, you had this long explanation about the eye and the lens, and but my favorite part of that is that you gave five. You introduced it as five core principles, but it was just three, and it was scratch, pass, and gas. Right? Is that the
Scratch,
one?
pass, gas.
Yeah,
Another two.
that's it. That's all you need.
The fingers in the eyes.
And
Got
we did not plan for Renee and Tackett to actually think you were in the sewer. That was mind blowing that they actually went inside it.
Yeah, that worked out well. I forgot originally why we were looking in there because Craig and I showed up a little bit before the rest of the crew did. And for whatever reason, I don't know, maybe Craig was asking me to jump down there or some of the other guys behind the camera. And I left my water bottle over there. And then so when the crew came up, they saw my water bottle with the
Yeah.
sticker on it. And they're like, he's close. We can smell him.
Yeah, they were so convinced. And then it's funny because it was like a quick, like Renee was like, no, 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 we got to get out of here. Like this is a real sewer, and you need to pull me back off.
Yeah.
I do remember too. I don't think this made an episode, but I think when they went into the new house, you hadn't returned yet. They didn't know you were still there. And I think at one point they were looking for you in the attic. So for some reason, they had an idea that I don't know. I don't think he left. I think he's lurking around, and maybe you had told them that you were still there. I don't know, but like so they were always kind of looking, and caused them to go into a sewer.
Yeah, no, I didn't tell them anything. We kept the whole ruse thing going, and then they thought I left that night, and then I came back the next day as Hollywood Mike. That
Oh yeah.
was even funnier.
That was on a freaking boat, right? That's yeah.
Oh, well, this mad spitballing riffs off of got the snapping turtle. Y'all gotta stay safe while y'all out there.
I feel like you really look like him from a distance too. I think you had the shirt. Oh, and you had written
I know Mike gave me knuckle tats.
yeah.
It said Sewerrat, sewer rat on my knuckles, and he drew the logo on the top like he's got his Machado bulldog.
Right. A little
Those
puppy
are
dog,
pretty
right?
good. I might have to actually get those later down the line.
Why not, People need to know. That's the best way to tell people about yourself is knuckle tats.
Right. So tell people about yourself, Simone. What's going on with you?
Oh, I don't know. I just been doing my thing, which is shooting and editing. This is my home office. I sit here most of the day. I'm normally in just matching sweats, but I thought the Sewer Rat podcast, I better wear a sweater, I better look good.
You get
But
this that sweater. At least it's corn colored.
oh my god, I didn't even think of that. Yeah, I should. Yeah, yeah, I am on theme, and I didn't even realize it. But yeah, no, this is basically what I do all day. And then I kick back in the evening. Been watching reality TV shows. Eating ice cream. I do chew corn as not every day as I should, but when I get a chance, I
Gotta
try
be
to.
strong.
Yeah.
What reality shows are you watching right now?
I'm watching, it is a guilty pleasure. I'm not proud of it, but it's Love Is Blind. It's on its sixth season now, and I watch every
Hey,
season.
did you see Josh Demas on there?
I did. Oh my god, I forgot about that connection. Yes, I did.
He was on the show, and then he went immediately over to that show.
I forgot. Yes, I'm trying to think about I had never considered that path for anybody. I was like, oh, these guys, it'll be good for them. They'll come on Who's Number One competition. They'll get more fans in jujitsu. But I never thought, okay, one of them is going to switch to Love Is Blind.
I wouldn't have thought that either. I don't know. And then, this is between me and you, but everybody now. And I've talked to. He was actually. I did an episode with him last week, and we talked a little bit about this. But for me, it seemed like I don't know, kind of what was he doing on the show? Because he was like a white belt, I think, at the time, or maybe had just gotten his blue belt. Didn't seem like he had many competitions, and he's getting thrown in there with black belts, Big Dan.
Hey, he's trying to.
I was like, this dude's got a great manager. He's just getting him on all of these reality TV shows. It's brilliant. He's like, yeah,
Yeah.
go on a jiu-jitsu show. Why not?
Yeah, and he's like, oh shoot, you didn't make it past day one? Try Love Is Blind. Maybe that's better. You don't have to fight people. You just gotta try and find the love of your life. Whatever, right?
Yeah, that was kind of crazy to see him go jump to that, but that was cool. So what's that show like? What's the premise?
Oh, it's pretty silly. It's these um you got men and women, and they can't see each other, and they talk to each other in pods, so they can only hear each other's voices. And they have 4 days, and I guess they talk to each other 24/7 because then they manage to fall in love. and the guys have to propose. And this part's all fine and dandy. There can be little twists and turns, but the big reveal is when they finally see each other. Because
Oh,
then comes the question: is love blind? And for the most part, it's not. There's all these like, oh, I didn't think they don't say it, but the problem is they didn't think that the other person would look the way they do, and there's all this, you know, twists and turns. But like I said, I'm not proud of it. It's just something I watch in between the better shows that I do watch. So, um,
what is it like for you being what do you call it, cinematographer when you take shot, or a videographer and an editor watching these other shows? Because I was a film minor,
oh, I didn't know that.
not saying nothing, but
Oh,
we had to watch a lot of movies, and with that, I was also like English writing, so you study literature and then like narrative and like how you start building, the
mhm.
plot element. There's the climax, and then like there's a story arc to not, I would say, like not commercial works of like things like that, but there's a general plot line or things that things follow. Is
Yeah.
that difficult for you, being a professional, watching and like enjoying other things, or are you just so critical?
Yeah, I find it like when I watch documentaries specifically, because I do that a lot. I do kind of like I can't sometimes not see the edit. Like I'm watching it and I'm enjoying it, but I'm also thinking about, oh yeah, how they put it all together. So that can get kind of annoying because I can't fully just relax. And then with reality shows too, like I can see the edits that they're doing. Like there's this classic thing: these two people are talking and they're arguing, and like the edit always is the music suddenly comes up and you see them just angrily look at each other and one of them walks away. And I always know that they're just using random reaction shots, and it might not have actually ended like this, but that's like the formula. We got to bring the music up. We got to take every little 2-second shot where someone seemed kind of annoyed, and have them kind of roll their eyes at each other. So I constantly see and I'm aware of like, I don't think they're changing the dialogue or anything like that, but like some of this might be edited, like in a way that like someone said something and the other person might have just reacted like this, but they found a shot where he looked pissed, and that's in the edit. So it's something I notice, but it doesn't bother me. Maybe it can be inspiration, but yeah, it's
Yeah,
it's hard not to see it.
when you talk about like the drama, like the conflict between the two people talking, something I guess was never really aware of, but then once I found out about it, I can never not see it now when I'm watching a movie.
Yeah.
Is they've got somebody talking like facing this way, and then the other person, like you can't see their face or something, and so that one person is just sitting there not saying anything, and they've got their shot, like their head in the background, so it looks like the person's talking to them. But they do like so many takes, and they wait till they get, I don't know, it's kind of a hard situation to describe, of like the conversation, the back and forth, but the perspective of it, I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that,
No,
but
no, I get what you're saying. Like, because I see it a lot in like a lot of professional shows too, where you can tell that the person whose back is shown was
so
talking. It
so
was
for example,
clearly
like
talking.
if I'm looking this way, right, and then maybe my audio was good on a previous take, but so they don't want to show my face saying it, so they'll cut to the back of my head,
Mhm.
but on the back of my head cut, like you can see I'm not talking at all.
Yeah, yeah.
Got the perfect audio line of dialogue that they just spliced that in on that footage.
Yeah, that's a good observation. I mean, I totally see that, and like sometimes you don't because when you're supposed to be looking at the other person's reaction, right? Like this so and so saying something, and they're cutting to the close up of the other guy because maybe he's reacting. So I feel like for the most part they get away with it, but sometimes yeah, you can just see like these don't match up, and you just gotta
Yeah,
try
it's
to
also
look past
not like
it.
got like that keen eye studying films and everything, that you look for little jump cuts and things like that. It's
Yeah.
fun. Um, was there any kind of like, playing up the drama, or like extra setup, like forced, not like forced, but like set up conflicts that y'all had to do behind the scenes for who's up next, or for the most part was that totally unscripted? Everybody just kind of did their deal and
Yeah, I feel like so, maybe the producers had picked all the challenges and stuff. So going in, like me and the other camera people, we didn't know like like obviously we knew, okay, today we're gonna, what was it, tackle bulls or whatever it is that
Yo,
Andrew was really good at.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's probably Ray Reed, one of those. They're like, they came up with all these challenges, and so we
Now,
every day. It was crazy, right? And that Andrew actually turned out being amazing at it. It was perfect.
I feel like that was almost a state record or something,
Yeah,
especially
and what's
somebody his size, right?
no, and what was great about that is like you would think that like it was so perfect for the story, and that happened on its own that he did that. Then he says something like, "Oh, now I'm gonna, I got one bull, I'll get Dan now," right?
Exactly.
And we're like, "Okay, cool." And then he actually like taps him out. So it's like all these things, like, yeah, we force you guys in situations. Like we said, okay, you have to all stay together, 8 of you guys in a 4 bedroom, and you have to do all these challenges, but everything else that happened, like, just happened. Uh, there were times, like for my edit, like the arm wrestling one, where everyone thought Big Dan was gonna pick. I don't know what they thought. Like he would go up against Isaac, but he picked Adam. So that was something that again just happened. None of us knew. We weren't expecting it. But I do stuff like, okay, edit wise, I'm not going to reveal the conversation yet until afterwards. So you're watching it, you're thinking, okay, Andrew says, oh, he's going to pick little guy versus big guy. That makes sense. And you're like, okay, this is it. And then it's, oh, Isaac versus Adam, and you're confused. And then I go into the stuff of like, how did that happen? Is Adam happy with it? Everyone's thoughts on it. So there's like just little subtle things where it's like, okay, I'll reveal it in a way that makes it more shocking. But otherwise, it was all like, I mean, we didn't know that was gonna happen.
Yeah. And then I know like, I wasn't in the house for most of it. I kind of stayed there maybe like the last day or something. But when they started messing with Cool Rack, Mike Rackshon, they was like waking him up and threw him in the pool and
Oh
stuff.
my gosh. Yeah, that also, I mean, I think that just started because, I mean, of course they were going to do pranks. We assumed that. We didn't tell them to do that.
It's
But
just
I remember.
being on camera that just makes you
Yeah.
scratch up, huh?
No, literally. Like, I think Tackett has that quality too, where he's like, you're filming me? Okay, I'm going to go crazy, you know? But I think that one specifically, I think maybe day one or day two of the shoot, like I think Isaac was asking me about the camera, like, oh, how do you shoot it, whatever. And I was like, we have a bunch. I can just give this to you. You guys do whatever the hell you do, just keep it appropriate and we'll put it in the edit. And I remember the next day he came and he was so excited. He's like, look, and he was like a 20-minute video. You just hear Rakshan screaming and all this. And I was like, this is gold. Thank you so much. I'm going to give it to you. So yeah, it's like we didn't tell them to do that, but I was just like, here's a camera, have fun.
Fly on my wall or a rat in that attic when I was going down. That sounded loud. Yeah, I watched the show and then I know we had talked a little bit about this kind of like I don't know what during the filming or just kind of like as it was being released, but I guess there was no one like overarching kind of like creative director in charge of like the flow of every episode. It seemed like maybe different couple people directed different episodes or
Yeah, so there were three producers, like the three main producers who kind of came up with everything, how production would go. Was Ray Machuca, Reed Connell, and Cliff Bogart. So they were like leading all the interviews with you guys and stuff like that. But edit wise, there was like one editor per episode, or maybe one person edited 2 episodes. So in that way, you can kind of see like the different personalities of the editors come out, different styles come out in that way. But yeah, those three guys again were supervising these edits, making sure it had the right, tone and everything. So I guess you definitely call those guys the directors, the creators, and then there was about I think 4 of us editors. So I just edited episode 2 with arm wrestling and Isaac versus Adam. and the return of the sewer rat. I mean, that's the real part of the episode. That's the big reveal.
Classic. That just like, oh my God.
I had a lot of fun with that. And
I think people were like, okay, where's this show going? Oh wait, now I'm in.
Yeah, and I mean, I really think that just having you there every single episode doing whatever the hell you were doing was just it's just great because you have all these. I mean, you have obviously all these great personalities, different guys, but everyone's really serious about winning and being the best, which is great. And then you just have a guy with a rat nose on his head. Is like you're at a party,
Well,
Yeah, I thought it was great.
if it's one thing that I've learned in life in general, but especially in martial arts, is that there are people who are really, really great at what they're doing. But then if you can't communicate that in a way for everybody, it kind of you're not reaching your full potential. And it's kind of getting lost on like deaf ears, so to speak. So what I try to do is to help correlate the expertise of what everybody else is doing and regurgitate it in a format that's digestible for everybody. It's like the corn kernel
I
wisdom.
was waiting for it. I was like, he hasn't put a pun in yet. I'm not. It's not delivered yet. And then you said it.
Yeah, because people who specialize in this kind of stuff, it's like having a brain surgeon explain like the nuances of like all the neurosynapses and everything that'll get lost on like your average viewer, like your day one white belt kind of thing. And I feel like the more people specialize, not only in that, but it's hard for them to communicate in other areas of their lives. Like a lot of jujitsu professors, athletes are not the most social people. They are I'll say they're outgoing, but there's a little bit of this like withdrawn, like kind of, because like, okay, think about it. Before the internet was a thing, who were the people that did jujitsu?
Yeah.
Like the nerds, all the nerds, right? Like who are just
Yeah.
like grabbing these VHSs and like I don't know where you're getting this information, or like watching like Chinese kung fu movies and like trying to replicate that in your living room. But it's like it was kind of like gate kept knowledge, and in
Mhm.
order to be in the club, you really kind of like it was almost kind of like cultish or something, where it's like you had to have something kind of like not like something's wrong with you.
That's why you do jujitsu.
To be into this kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
it's kind of been reaching more mainstream. I think they're getting more personalities. It's getting more accessible to everybody, obviously in a way, and it's becoming a little bit more like an acceptable, like a
Mhm.
cool thing to be doing. It's not like how it was before internet and everything.
Yeah.
So that's where I try to fit myself into the whole jujitsu thing. Is just bridging that gap between like everybody else's expertise and then like trying to bring everybody up, and make
No.
sure we're all on the same page.
No, I think you do it wonderfully. I mean, it's like it's something that you can enjoy and like laugh at, but learn from. And you're also obviously like very nice too. Everyone can tell like this guy is a good guy. He's having a good time, and I think so. I don't have a jujitsu background. I just came in to flow as like a shooter editor, and so obviously I've learned how jujitsu works now. But for me, everything has always been about like personality. Cause like, just show me two people doing jujitsu. I don't know if I'm that interested. But if I know somebody and I like them for different reasons, like I know what they went through, maybe they have a big backstory, or if they're like hilarious, whatever it is, everyone has these unique personalities. And when you bring them out, then people start, or I guess people like me who don't know jujitsu, then that's when I start rooting for you. That's when I'm like, oh well, I don't know. I feel like I know you now, and now I want to see you win. So that's like another fun aspect that you bring too. Like people want to see you come crawling out of a trash can.
Hey, that was so funny. The first fight when I came out and I threw him in 10 seconds. I mean, as I'm walking down the corridors, I walk out onto the mats. Everybody's sewer rat, sewer rat, and I was like, I don't even know y'all. With the whole,
we we were so excited, man. We had never seen anything like this. So from my perspective, it was a long day. We had that 3 hour match, and I don't know if you were before or after that, but one of my jobs that day was to be the person who holds this. It's called a Ronin. Holds the camera, a steady shot of them walking into the warehouse, and like of every athlete doing that. And one right before that, I get them outside pacing, and everyone, they do their whole intense, like they're hitting themselves, slapping themselves, like really getting into it. Some of them are screaming, whatever. And so I'm like, all right. And it's been like a long day. And then I'm like, all right, let's go. Another guy's coming out. And I was just like, what's going on? This guy, he's got a rat nose. Okay. He's making scratch sounds. And I don't remember what you were like sniffing. And I was just like, what the hell is this? Like I wasn't mentally prepared at all because everyone else was just so serious. And then, yeah, the way you came in, the way everyone cheered, you had them be so sorry, but you also introduced the possum technique. That was that was mind-blowing.
That didn't get enough credit. That needed some more screen time.
I agree. I think your next breakdown should be about that. You covered the big move, but that was a huge moment.
They should have reset us. He let me go.
Yeah, I mean, that was not a fair win. We both know that, right? Like, but I think everybody, like all the camera people, the crew, we were just like so excited about you because we didn't know what the heck you were gonna do next, and it was just like, I don't know. I feel like with this kind of like these kind of series, it's good to have the serious stuff. It's good to have the intense jujitsu, but you need the moments in between to take a breath and just laugh and just enjoy the personality moments. And so I think you just brought every episode, made it so much more exciting and watchable.
Yeah.
Just being the sewer rat, just eating your corn or whatever you do.
Just scratching around.
Yeah.
It's funny because I have a wrestling background, but these days who doesn't at this point, because
Yeah.
that's what really dominated the UFC for the longest time was wrestlers. So, and talking about, and then now you see personalities coming out in the sport, like was that Colby Covington, of course, Conor McGregor and everybody. So what I wanted to do is not just bring a wrestling aspect to jiu-jitsu, but a pro wrestling aspect to jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Like you build these characters. I've got special finishing signature moves kind of stuff. The Me So Sorry, Ouchie Waza, the trash compactor, and that way when I hit it, everyone's like, yeah. So
Yeah.
it builds up that other element of not only do I just want to watch this dude, I want to watch him hit that move or something. So it creates more watchability.
Oh, 100%. And like all of us, like on the crew too, like they're like me, they don't have jiu-jitsu backgrounds, but like day one, we were like, oh shit, scratch, like we were just quoting you, and like it's so easy to. But we were like fans day one. Like as soon as we realized what you were doing, and so that like you said, that makes it so much more watchable.
I wouldn't even.
I don't know. I can't even describe it, honestly. But you are doing something clearly different from everyone else, and I love that. And I'm a big like believer in also not always taking yourself so seriously. Like just like I like to just like you make fun of myself, be goofy, and so I feel like something as intense as a jiu-jitsu tournament where you're trying to win money and the Who's Number One contract, it needs that too. But and then you have the technique too. I mean, the throw, the possum. Oh man, it's all there. The whole package is there.
It's there. The technique breakdowns, everything.
Mm-hmm.
One thing, and if I can just be critical for a moment, okay. And this is because obviously there's so many cooks in the kitchen, so to speak. Back in the day when the Ultimate Fighter first got released, right? Because that was kind of like the cornerstone little baby that walked, mm-hmm. So Who's Up Next could run in a way that the show is modeled off of, right? Is you had all the Ultimate Fighters in the house, but they didn't have Instagram and Twitter and things like that. So for me, what I found lacking was that first episode where you really introduce everybody, because they all come in, but you don't get the backstories from everybody. And I know the way they did that was with those social media drops. And they had like those 3 little snippets of each fighter coming in. And then like after every fighter got dropped on the page, they dropped episode number 1. But for like my parents, when we went to go watch the show and like any of my friends or anybody who wasn't already following Flow Grappling, they kind of missed that narrative element of introducing everybody kind of thing. And for me, as a somebody who reads books and a film minor,
Yeah, okay.
well, what I think would have kind of created a little bit better narrative, so to speak, is just having that that first episode be a little bit more introducing about the fighters, because stories really need that really strong beginning and a really strong bookend. And I know I had asked you before too. I thought maybe they were going to do like a kind of wrap up finale episode, but really it ended up just having the live finale happen, and then just kind of everybody went their separate ways. Or what happened? What happened with the end of Who's Up Next? Did they discuss doing a wrap up finale episode, or?
I mean, I don't know. We had stuff like you and I did go to the tunnels, and maybe we released that clip because that was pretty. That was a fun
that
time.
was an sanctioned event.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think that is a good criticism of episode 1, and it was challenging too because it's like you've got well, we had 8 matches, so and you have one episode where you have to introduce. Yeah, you have to introduce 16 people. We also were trying to introduce, like, all right, what is jiu-jitsu? Why do you care about this? And then yeah, I think we did do intros, but they were really brief, I guess, just because we got to get to the match. Like, I feel like it would have been like a 3-hour episode if we went with each. But that is a good. I mean, that kind of goes along with what I was saying of like characters. Like that's personality. That's what makes you root for someone. So I'm with you there.
For sure, it was a lot to tackle. It was a tall order, and by no means was an easy feat. I know a lot of moving parts had to come together to make that series possible. And whatever happened, that it did finally happen. It's so great that it did. I think it really did a lot for the sport. What were their reactions to the show? Were they happy with the way that it came out behind the scenes? Were they getting a lot of viewership? Kind of the way that it all just came together?
Yeah, I think they were very happy with the end product. And then I think what was also cool was to kind of see afterwards a lot of the guys we focus on doing really well. I mean, obviously not because of us or anything. I'm not saying that, but like
everything
right after, yeah, like Isaac's killing it, Andrew. I mean, everybody's kind of. I've seen their like following grow. Kyle, yeah, everybody is. That I think was a cool thing. Yeah, because that's like I think we just wanted to be able to focus and create more stars so that more people are watching jiu-jitsu. That's the whole point.
That was the goal of the show, to give an underdog, no-name person somebody a chance to start making a name for themselves. And just whether, like you said, whether it was because of that show or not, a lot of people springboarded off of that platform and were just able to do so much great things after it. It was really awesome.
Yeah, I appreciate that aspect too. And then I always like that you get to learn about people that you didn't know about. Like, for episode 2, Adam's backstory is like very moving and very like, anybody who's not involved in the sport would still be inspired by that, like not giving up, finding a way out of a bad place. Isaac too. I mean, he left home, found jiu-jitsu, is now living the life he wants. So I think those stories too are really important, because that's what I find interesting, because the sport is, sport's cool, but it's like, how do people use this sport to better themselves or get out of a situation or, change lives, help people? That's what I think is really cool.
It is. A lot of people don't think about that aspect to it, though. I'm sure many people just come in as drop-in hobbyists and they think, oh, I'm getting in shape a little bit, but they don't understand the transformative power. And, it's so cliche or whatever, jiu-jitsu saved my life kind of thing. But you really can do so much, maybe not with the sport itself, but, just through the relationships that you build and, the personality transformations that happen overcoming adversity on the mats.
Mhm.
You know, it teaches you things about yourself. And if you really pay attention and if you treat it like it used to be treated before the internet, you know, it really is like a martial art. And when you're doing it in that way, it becomes more of a lifestyle, and you know, it's applying to all areas of your life kind of thing.
Mhm. Yeah, no, I always find it really inspiring when it's like athletes, like they everything in their life is so that they can be the best at their, at their sport. Like,
Yeah.
they're not going out partying, like they change their diet. I mean, I've tried for years to change my diet and I simply don't. I just go,
Danaher
screw
says
it.
that
I'm
matter.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go back to Sour Patch, who cares? But it's like, yeah, that's like the thing is like when you take the sport out, or even when you take the sport out, the story is still inspiring. It's just someone doing everything they can to be the best at what they do. It's just, it's incredible.
And that's got to remind you a lot about Daisy Fresh, right? You were, I know,
Yeah.
big part on that series too. Did they have any athletes from Daisy Fresh come on Who's Up Next, or you know,
They had, yeah. They were like
Tristan?
now,
Huh?
sorry, go on.
Was it Tristan
Yes.
Overeem?
Tristan and Max were both they
Oh,
weren't the ones in Mount Vernon that lived in the laundromat, but yeah, they were a part of Pedigo submission fighting. Max is, I think he's Adama Jiu-Jitsu and PSF, so he represents both. And I think Tristan is in a gym that's in a PSF Pedigo submission fighting gym that's in Indiana. But yeah, those were the ones that were Pedigo submission fighting. But yeah, like that goes along like what you were saying goes along the same kind of theme of Daisy Fresh. Like, what they how the sport kind of got people into a better life. Like Jacob Couch. Getting out of the situation at home, and now living a happy life. He just won ADCC trials, and so what he does, like the coach does for everybody, and how that's like what it's always been about. Like, yeah, the titles are important, getting first place, and they do really well, but at the end of the day, it's just about, like some of them had such a rough life that they didn't know how long they were going to make it, or dealing with mental health problems, and now they've found a community, they found a place where they can be themselves just through the sport, and now are happy, like that's again. So yeah, it does kind of fall along those themes. That's kind of what I really like. Again, as being someone who doesn't know or isn't involved in the sport, like that's the stories that I'm like, oh, I like that.
you say that. I saw a picture of you getting a black belt.
Okay, yeah, I have worn a gi multiple times, specifically just for photos. But you know what? Why am I selling myself short? I was in karate. I got a black belt at 10. I had to cry through the whole test. They had to, like, for me to break the board, they had to kind of bend it a little, but I did.
Free
And
slap.
so yeah, exactly. And then I think multiple times I've been in a situation where I have said, "Let me put on a gi, give me your black belt," and I take a picture. That's just, for some reason, I've done that. And then one time I did roll with my friend Jess. I don't know if you ever met Jess Todd from Flow, but we I decided, okay, let's do a little match right here. I'd never tried jujitsu, and she immediately choked me with my own clothes. So it's pretty brutal sport.
It's very humbling. It'll
It is.
humble, which is why I
I
don't know how these people can have such big egos sometimes. You know, because
Yeah, I think that comes with, though. It's like if you're gonna go up against somebody, you have to be like, "Oh, I'm gonna beat him. I'm the best." Otherwise, how the hell do you do it? That's really it's gonna be really scary. But
nobody wins all their matches though, except
that's
Gordon
true.
Ryan.
Of course, yeah, that's it. I have because I've been doing like jujitsu content for like 4 years now, and I have like always in the back of my mind thought, oh, it'd be cool to like just go to a gym and obviously casually, try it. But I am just so terrified of getting hurt. I mean, I even just filming competitions, and someone gets their knee popped or whatever, I can't even look. Like that's just I also don't want to be sat on. I don't want to be, I don't want someone sweat all over me. There's a lot going on there.
Yeah. Well, you're right. And then, for me, a lot. I used to compete a lot going up into the show. And then afterwards, I just was back working so much, and it just kind of took so much creative energy away from me. And then, I don't have time to really train at the levels. Being on that show, it really shows you the gap, like the skill gap between
Yeah.
just your average hobbyist and somebody who's really about that business, and that's what they do for a living and for their lives, right? So
Yeah.
I did do like another expert level competition, and then like immediately got wrist locked, like standing.
Oh shit.
Like, okay, there's layers to this stuff, and I've heard quotes where it's like there's a larger skill gap um, between somebody who really is a black belt and a white belt. That's a bigger gap than a white belt and a newborn baby. And like you can imagine a white belt and a newborn, right? But
Yeah.
a black belt versus a white belt is something like greater than that somehow. And but you really when somebody puts hands on you and you know that they know, like you just know you got. There,
You do get got.
there's no getting around it. Some days you get got, some days you do a little getting, but at the end of the day, like I said, nobody wins all of their matches. So the only thing you can do is just keep improving on the mats and as a person. And
Yeah, and you gotta know too that these people that are like winning everything, they're full time. Like they don't, it's real. I can't imagine having to like work a 9 to 5, then train, and then also compete on the weekends and be good. Like that's a lot. That's a lot of stuff to do.
right. I mean, like I know back in the day, you always see pictures and everything. GSP used to be like a trash man, so he would have time to go to practices and everything. But I think back then, and then this is kind of like what Keenan got a lot of heat for saying is like, back before all of this exploded with like internet and just general population interest, where it was just like a niche thing. Maybe people weren't so good back then, and so like you could get away training 2-3 times a week and being the best of the best. Because I mean, I mean, I know back when I was watching UFC, and you see Chuck Liddell, right? And he's got this big old gut. It's like, really? Like, you letting that dude do that?
You're like, I was born in the wrong time. I should have been back there. That would be good.
Yeah, but now I don't think they have that luxury of just not taking it serious and not taking it full time. You
And you
really
gotta
gotta.
watch out for
If
these little kids. Like they're starting them young now. They're starting them at like 4 years old, choking people out. Like
you, yeah, and then somebody who's had their body develop along those movement patterns,
Mhm.
there's no substitute for that. And for the most part, I know over at my any gyms really that I've been training at, a lot of people come in with almost no athletic background aside from PE. You know, playing like tennis or
Yeah.
even they don't know how to move their bodies, let alone like how to control somebody else's and put them in a I'm not gonna do a Jimmy, like a rear
Right.
naked strength. It's crazy, like to expect a beginner to be able to do
Yeah.
something like it's kind of a large task, and no matter how you boil it down, there's still that element of personal body control, opponent body control, and then applying submission techniques. There's a lot going on.
Yeah. Not getting tapped out. Like you have to tap someone out, but also try not to get tapped out. And then not
Right.
get tired. I don't know how you guys do it. I don't think when I follow an athlete and I see them lose and obviously you get upset. I'm like, man, how do you? Because if that happened to me, I would just like, I think I'd just give up. I'd be like, man, this is too hard. How do you like keep? It's a lot to just keep getting better and say, no, I'm gonna go out there, I'm gonna win next time. And obviously, that happens and they get better. But it's a tough thing to put yourself out there and say, I'm gonna beat this guy's
that,
ass, and then sometimes
that
your ass gets beat.
Tim Crater talks about that. You gotta suffer. You gotta embrace that suffering. That suffer. Yeah.
Oh, brother.
Because
Man.
like you're not gonna win every match. You gotta go through that. You gotta have that hardness of personality to know that you just some things are gonna suck, and you just have to do it
Mhm.
because it sucks. And
Yeah.
that's that breakthrough is all about somebody who's at a plateau. Um, well, we're at about 45 minutes. I don't know how much
Oh,
time
we
you got.
did it.
Kicking it super breezy right now.
It
Uh,
is, yeah. I was really nervous. I don't do a lot of these things, but you're really easy to talk to, so.
yeah, well, you couldn't tell. This has been so smoothie, so smooshy talkative, as my fiance would say.
How is Mrs. Surratt?
Mrs. Seward is doing great. She was out here cleaning some windows. We bought a house recently, and we're now engaged, so she's officially Mrs. Seward.
Oh, congrats! You got a good rat story. How'd you do it?
Yeah, it was pretty nice. We did it in December at the end of last year because, like I said, we had bought the house, and I was like, we got to do it all same year. And it was getting kind of close by the time the ring I had ordered came in, and specific times that she had off from work. So she had off on a Sunday. I scheduled us. We went for a helicopter ride to go look at some Christmas lights. Christmas, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
we hopped a flight to go look at some lights and popped the question. I was actually kind of nervous because I knew what I was gonna do. The whole thing we were going. I played it so cool the whole evening, and then we land the helicopter, and it's so crazy sometimes how much like you got to micromanage things. And I was like, dude, like her family's gonna be there, so when we land, don't land so that her door is away from the viewing corridor. Her family's not going to see anything. So I was like trying to play it cool and be like, hey, when we land, can you make sure like she's facing
Yeah.
the airport or whatever? And I like, kind of gave that away. She's like, what's going on? And then so like I'm already starting to get a little nervous because like I said, I want everything to be perfect. And then they let me out the helicopter first, and they had me come walk around and open the door, and I can't get the door. I'm like, and then I like got the photo package, so they're all like blinding lights in my face, and I can't see with the lights. And so finally get the door open, and then like, okay, was it right knee? Was it left knee? I'm trying to think so much, and then like I pop out the ring, and instead of it being on the bottom, it was on the top, and like I was like switching it around, and then I was like, man, I had like a whole speech thing to say, but then there was so many people, and it just seemed like kind of rushed. I didn't have any words. And then, luckily they're standing out there with this big banner, and it's like, okay. And I was just like, will you, like, that looks good. Will you marry me? That's all I got to say.
You want to do the thing?
Yeah. I mean, what more needs to be said at that point, because we've been together coming up on a little over 3 years, and it's been a nice ride. We just went to a riverboat ride down the Mississippi River for Valentine's Day,
Oh,
which was super nice.
that's amazing. That's beautiful. I'm so excited for you guys.
Yeah.
Congrats.
We were going around looking for wedding locations today, and we found one. We
It's going to
think
be above ground, you think? Or
that's right, that's right, and televised.
ooh, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
So I have written down some questions. I think we really kind of covered everything. So cool, but there is something now that you mentioned, like the relationships and everything. I know you're married, right?
I am. My husband, he's at work right now. But he's actually the reason I moved to Houston. I was in Austin for working at Flow, and then we met at UT, University of Texas at Austin, undergrad, and then he went to law school after that. He got a job in Houston, so we moved here. But yeah, we've been married for like 7 years. So
Oh,
crazy, right?
that's nice. That's real nice.
And
Yeah,
we got a cat. She's around.
I
She's
saw it.
right
She
here.
came
Yeah.
across here earlier. Yeah,
Yes, put it back down.
part of the reach that I want to do with this podcast is, similar to kind of my approach to jujitsu, is just making everything seem accessible and, giving good life advice for those coming up. So, what can you say for people who are looking to get married, or, even advice to myself? How do you have a nice marriage life, to put it simply? And, how does traveling and working with flow and everything impact that in any way, if at all?
Yeah, I would say that my main thing, and this is kind of advice I would give myself because it's something that I have I had struggled with was just communication. It's like I realized when I got married that, oh, you have to voice everything. They don't just figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, like yeah, and so that was something I had to work on where like I'm very non-confrontational, still working on that. But I was the type where something would bother me, I'd just be like, all right, and I'd bottle it in and I keep it in and then oopsies, it comes out eventually. And I realized that's
Or
something I realized, yeah, that you can't do.
Tori, like, all right, you doing this, I'm gonna do this, instead of like now y'all at it instead of just nipping it and just moving forward, right?
Exactly, and it's like I'm still a I'm naturally a non-confrontational person, so it's like it is hard sometimes to say something and say how you feel. But then once you get through that uncomfortable, it's immediately fixed because the problem's out there, and it's like
And that's
way
why
better than keeping it in.
they support each other, and nobody intentionally is doing anything to bring you down. They want to. That's why y'all together, right? To be together and to keep moving forward, build that empire. That's great.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, and he's always been really supportive of the flow stuff, the travel stuff, and it works. Like I think it's good that we're in completely different kind of career paths. Like I think that makes it more fun and interesting if we're just
Yeah,
you
got,
know
got a lot to talk about, I'm sure.
exactly. I do remember one funny thing when I met your fiance when you guys came to Austin was that I kept hanging like we were all hanging out and I kept talking to you and I kept addressing you as sewer rat and I was like that's kind of weird, he's a real guy. Like I can't just keep calling him a rat. Yeah.
I'm a
And
real
so
life doer,
yeah, I
right?
know. What am I saying? And at one point, I was like, sewer. I was like, I mean Spencer, right? Spencer or sewer rat? Which do you prefer? And you were just kind of laughing, but your fiance was like Spencer. And I was like, oh yeah, I get it, I get it. He's not just a rat from the tunnels. I should call him Spencer.
Yeah,
It just doesn't feel right.
she's always got my back. That's one of the many reasons that I love her.
Oh, that's sweet. Yeah, she seemed really sweet. I was excited to meet her. And I'm glad you guys. So you guys are in Louisiana, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
met
okay,
her
you got your
just
house.
outside New Orleans.
Nice. And now you're building your sewer rat empire.
That's
Your
right.
house.
I know. And then like everything in good time, and this is something that I really had to work with myself personally, is because I always want to rush things.
Mhm.
And that's something like my ADHD is where like if I'm not currently doing something, I feel like I'm getting behind on everything else. And I just when I want to do something, I want to do it all the way and do it to completion, but life does not always happen in that way. So I realize I'm kind of late doing these follow up on the Who's Up Next series and everything, but I'm hoping this can reinvigorate some interest like in the show, and I wanted to do like a whole looks back, like a Last Dance, Michael Jordan kind of thing, where we're all just like sentimental, thinking back like on the show and the heyday of everything.
Yeah. We should have a
Uh,
reunion. A reunion episode.
Reunion, right? After the Sewer Rat and Friends Who's Up Next, Where Are They Now series drops,
Yeah.
we'll have the reunion. Is there any interest in doing like a Who's Up Next, like Fighter House Part 2, or because I know Hollywood's out doing different projects right now. Who was with ADCC? I thought you were a part of that for a little bit too, or are y'all still working together any? Or
Oh, we did do like ADCC stuff together, but no, right now I'm still with Flo, and we'll probably all be working together. Like we'll be seeing each other at trials and working together on ADCC stuff. But yeah, I know that everyone at Flow is very interested in doing season 2. I mean, we had a great time. We liked the results. It's just matter of figuring out how the heck to do that. Some
oh,
that top dogs will figure out, not me. But I know that we all had a great time, and I'm glad you're doing this because it was such a special thing. Um,
what?
yeah,
Because
it like
that hadn't have been the first time that idea got pitched in a meeting room. I feel like this was something that was waiting to happen, and it just finally, magic coalesced, and it just reached the perfect time. Talking about not rushing everything, so it was just I don't know. It felt like such a special thing that happened, and then, I talk about the narrative with the strong episode, and then the finale. it kind of got thrown off because it was supposed to be the coaches fighting, and Tim didn't want to match against Craig. What what was everybody's reaction like behind the scenes on that? I feel like they really should have, and this is also like 2020 vision, looking back, but they should have had a clause in the contract that, like, if any coach has to pull out for whatever reason, you got to fight whoever steps in for that coach or something. Like, how did he
Yeah.
get out of that contract and his, not responsibilities, but his, I don't know how to put it, his obligation to
Yeah.
an opposing coach.
I mean, I have no idea. I'm not in these rooms with the contract, but that is a good thing to like think about next time. Like we got to make sure that it's locked in because yeah, that would have made for obviously a better finale. You got these two like you know bickering the whole season.
Right, the perfect
Yeah.
bookend.
For sure, 100%. That would have been ideal. I think that's what we all wanted. But I don't know the details of why not.
Gordon and Pena was no slouch match by any means, but
Yeah.
narrative speaking, I don't even think Craig was at the finale. Like,
No, I don't think he was. You know what? We need to bring you on season two as like a consultant because you have all these great ideas. I mean, I'm agreeing with everything you're saying. So and I do genuinely believe that if we do season two, like you would have like this is your story. I mean, this is a sewer rat show.
my baby now, sewer rat.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Like even if you're just like doing commentary, maybe you were the new Hollywood Mike. Maybe you were coming in there saying, "Hey guys, check out your house."
They ain't no replacement for Hollywood Mike.
Of course not. Of course.
But he's away on other business. Y'all can call me to step in assistant coach wise. I'll be happy to come do some improv.
No, for sure. Because I don't know. I think the whole sewer ad story is just one of the most memorable things about that show. Because it's, I mean, there's a lot going on, but that's just I think something we all never expected. Like I don't know. I just never thought that
Story
I'd be
within
doing
a
this.
story. It's a bonus.
Yeah, it's just like you never thought that a rapper would come in who says he's from the tunnels and only talks in rap puns would be competing. Like I just, none of us thought that would happen, and it was just so great for the whole show. But no, it was really special too. Like I enjoyed one of the things I like about shooting is just hanging out with people and like it was great. I mean, I still talk to Renee. I had a lot of fun with the just hanging out with the blue team and the red team, but like just seeing everyone. The blue team was goofy, so I was hanging out with them a lot. But yeah, just seeing everyone in the house together, seeing people become besties, like I felt like that was another reason it was special. It's just seeing everyone bond over this experience. It was nice.
Yeah, it is nice. And I know, I still follow everybody on the gram. I see Big Dan is actually starting a little mini fight house kind of thing going on.
A mini firehouse. Oh shit.
Yeah, I know he was talking with one of his friends who just kind of had a house, and I think maybe there was like 8 rooms or something. So if any of those rooms are still available when I release this,
Yeah.
go check out Big Dan too. Um, yeah,
He's
so
another one that blew up really well too. Right after.
I think Who's Up Next really did a lot for him, just personally too, because I hope to get him on here because he really was such a sweetheart, not just to me, to everybody on the show, and he really is such a nice guy.
Yeah.
And that was just one of his big main concerns is he was a little down on himself because I feel like he's obviously training with Team New Wave and he's just thinks maybe he's like a little bit in Gordon's shadow. It was just he's like, man, he's like a little bit mopey. He's like, nobody knows who I am. And I was like, well, go show 'em.
Did you know?
Yeah. And he's really come out of his shell. So I think that was perfect, just kind of like, introductory to the spotlight for him personally. And now he's really kind of come into his own a lot as a not just an athlete and a competitor, but as a jiu-jitsu personality. It's been really great to see a lot of everybody, but him personally. I was like, oh.
Yeah. No, it is great, and I think like just being in front of a camera, it takes a while to get used to, and then once you get it, then you can really be yourself and let your personality shine, like you say. So that is nice.
Ooh, yeah. So we're coming up on an hour now. Is there anything you want to kind of just leave with people? Any kind of life advice? Chew their corn? Anything else they should chew on for a little bit?
Ooh, I don't know. I mean, I think the only thing to say here at this moment in time is scratch, scratch. Like that kind of just that just kind of takes encompasses everything, like be a good person, chew your corn. I mean, it's all in there. Like, how do you live it? Like, I don't know. That's just for me when I'm in a crossroads in my life. I just think scratch, scratch, and then I get it. But no, I mean, this was really fun. I'm glad I got to catch up with you and talk about it, and hopefully, yeah, we can make more content like this, whether it's another season or just getting people together and forcing them to hang out and do jujitsu.
As it should be, as it should be.
Yeah.
Well,
But
thank
yeah,
you.
thanks for having me, man.
It's been great. It was a pleasure talking to you, and maybe we can do it again sometime soon.
Hell yeah, brother.
All right, Simone. Scratch you later.
Congratulations. Yeah.
Bye.